So I noticed something while watching The Marvels. This movie is basically the culmination of everything that is currently wrong with this brand. At this point, we are as far removed from what the MCU originally was as we can possibly be. The Marvels is basically a bunch of random thrown together with no rhyme or reason to it. In fact, it barely qualifies as a movie. It is a far too long Disney Plus episode that serves no greater purpose. Other than, of course, being a terribly constructed film masquerading as fun. Let's discuss.
Our content sucks. Our content sucks.
I watch so you don't have to.
In The Marvels, Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taken revenge on the Supreme Intelligence. However, unintended consequences see her shouldering the burden of a destabilized universe. When her duties send her to a wormhole linked to a Kree revolutionary, her powers become entangled with two other superheroes to form the Marvels. The Marvels is all the worst parts of the MCU rolled up into one big ball of cringe. Let's talk about Kamala Khan for a moment, because she seems to be the character that's getting the most attention and the one that people are saying carries the film. To me, this is Jonathan Majors as Kang in Quantumania all over again. People randomly picking one thing out of the film they can praise and hang on to, because there's not really much going on in the movie overall. Iman Vellani is in this movie, yes, but she does not carry it. If she stole the film, it's because there was absolutely nothing in her way to stop her.
That makes sense.
A good portion of her dialogue is that cringe, quirky humor that the MCU has now become known for, basically turned up to 11. And to me, because of that, she came off as more obnoxious than anything. And to be clear, that's not a slight at the actress, that's a slight at the awful material that she is being given to work with. She's not even a character, she is a caricature of an MCU fangirl on Twitter, which makes the fact that people are praising her all over that platform make all the more sense. And then we have Brie Larson, who, believe it or not, is a capable actress. She does have range. She's won an Oscar, for God's sakes. But as Captain Marvel, they've done everything in their power to make her about as dull and emotionless as possible. It's like they are actively trying to make her less likable because they know that people aren't really accepting her in the role by and large.
It wasn't made for him.
And please don't give me Captain Marvel box office numbers. That movie benefited greatly from its close proximity to Endgame. If the same exact movie was released now, no one would care and no one would go and watch it. Monica Rambeau is easily the most likable of the three leads to me, but she really isn't given a whole lot to do from a character perspective. Her whole struggle comes from the hard feeling she has for Carol when they are finally reunited. But even that conflict feels kind of glossed over and eventually just pushed to the side. I will say there is one thing about Monica that is worth complimenting.
She got a great ass!
Also, we have the villain of this story, who I didn't even bother to learn her name because it really doesn't matter. She's about as one-note and forgettable of a character as you can imagine. They do try to make her somewhat sympathetic to add a little bit of weight to her character, but like everything else in this movie, it really means nothing and ends up going nowhere. Also, I do believe that studies should be done about the character assassination that's taken place with Nick Fury in the MCU. The guy went from military badass to a complete joke in the span of just a few years. And you could argue that his downfall began with the first Captain Marvel film. I wish Sam Jackson had the desire to protect his character over the desire to collect a paycheck, because I don't understand how an actor as decorated and respected as he is cannot see how they have completely dismantled his character in the later phases of the MCU.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
He's nothing more than a goofball babysitter and the equivalent of a crazy cat lady in this film. And when you think about what he meant to this whole story in the beginning, it's pretty sad to see. The best concept presented in this film was easily the teleportation of the three leads whenever they use their powers. But like anything else Marvel does, it felt underutilized and played for laughs more than anything. I feel like they could have really put the characters in interesting situations using this concept, and they do it, but it falls flat because of the non-consequential presentation. And make no mistake about it, this movie is almost completely devoid of stakes and consequences.
How can you not care?
Like this.
Towards the end of the film, it feels like more than anything, the writers just started throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. We have a visit to a planet where the inhabitants can only speak in song, which leads to a musical number that nobody asked for, smack dab in the middle of an MCU film. It's really hard to believe that this takes place in the same universe as Iron Man 1 at this point. Let's just say the tonal inconsistencies that Marvel has become known for is on full display in the Marvels.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
We also have a sequence where the alien cat gives birth to alien kittens, and then the kittens proceed to swallow and regurgitate Nick Fury's crew for the next 20 minutes. All I could think of while watching this is that, one, I feel like I'm in an alternate universe and this can't be real, and that I can't believe an hour and 30-minute movie had time to do this. And make no mistake about it, this film's only saving grace is its short runtime.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
Next, I'm going to talk about the post-credit scene, because at this point, I don't really care about spoilers, and you shouldn't either. But if you do care for some reason, that's your warning. Yes, Monica Rambeau ends up in the Fox X-Men universe at the end of this film. It was at this moment that it became painfully obvious to me that Marvel has done so much damage to their own universe that they now have to go into other universes and ruin them too. And make no mistake about it, I have all the confidence in the world that Marvel Studios will ruin the X-Men.
Let's see what we can with next.
If you need any more proof of that, then look no further than the inclusion of Kelsey Grammer's Beast at the end of the Marvels. They couldn't even take the time to put him in full practical effects makeup, you know, like they did back in 2006 to great effect. That's right, they brought Beast into the MCU by giving him the Smart Hulk treatment and making him 100% CGI. And the desperation was just oozing out of this scene as I watched it. It was basically Marvel Studios saying, I know this movie is terrible, but look at this shiny new Easter egg that hints at things to come in the future. Rinse and repeat from Marvel Studios, and I'm sure some people are still going to fall for it. Bottom line, The Marvels is a complete waste of time, as expected. It's rare that I watch a movie with so little redeeming qualities. I once called Thor: Love and Thunder the worst MCU movie ever. And it still may be if you take into consideration the high expectations for a character like Thor, but The Marvels is certainly going to give that film a run for its money. A disjointed mess of a film that probably wanted you to watch 3 terrible TV shows in order to understand what was going on. But of course, that's not how you make a great film, and Marvel Studios doesn't seem to understand that. Your film should be able to stand on its own if in fact you have the right creative people involved. And The Marvels definitely does not do that. This is easily one of the worst movies of the year for me, and that's why I'm going to give The Marvels the Disgusted Ian Malcolm.
That is one big pile of
Y'all be cool. Right on.